There is so much noise on YouTube, in the internet, on social media about what types of equipment you need to have in order to be able to have a nice lawn. And a lot of which, admittedly, I have myself and I've featured on my channel. But you are a new homeowner, you are trying to get started and you're trying to cut through all this noise to figure out what is it that I actually need to have a nice yard. Well, in this video, I'm going to do my best to unpackage that idea for you and try to help you make those decisions for yourself. So what we're going to try to do here is break down equipment based on my own experience as best as I can for you into things you must have, things you should have, and things that are nice to have. And with the must-haves, I'm going to go through kind of how I think you should go about buying them. So without any further ado, let's get into talking about the things that I believe you must have in order to start your journey in having yourself a nice yard. And as we get into this, you might be kind of surprised. I think what you must have to have a nice yard is fairly limited. I think all you really need are a mower, a string trimmer, a hose long enough to get a sprinkler, which is the last thing that you need to any part of your yard. So let's talk about the first and the biggest thing that you must have, and that's a mower. Now that kind of goes without saying. You might be thinking to yourself, well, that's pretty obvious, but like I said, I'm going to try to talk about how to go about buying some of these things as well. And with that, mowing is the most important thing that you can do for your yard, and if you can do it more often, that's better. I think based on my experience, you're going to have the most success and most likely to get out there and mow if your out the door to in the door mowing process can be in under an hour. And what does that mean? Well, maybe you got a dog and you got to go out there and pick up poop. You know, you got to get into the garage and get the mower out of the garage, get everything started, move all the kids' toys, move the pool out of the way, do all that, then put it all back together when you're done. You got to do the trimming, you got to do all those things. So I think the total of that needs to take an hour. So we probably want to be able to mow our yard in 30 to 45 minutes. And Jason, how are you going to be able to know what mower is going to get that done for you? Well, I conducted an experiment not too long ago comparing my 48-inch commercial hydro walk-behind mower to my normal 21-inch Honda mower. That's going to be your generic lawn mower that you pick up at your local hardware store. That 21-inch mower cut 1,000 square feet in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. And that was just a rectangle, so that's probably about as fast as you're going to be able to mow 1,000 square feet. So take your 30 minutes, divide it by 2.5. So maybe you can 10,000 to 15,000 square feet. Maybe with a push mower, I'd say anything under 10,000 square feet is going to be the ballpark for a 21-inch push mower. After that, if you start to get bigger than that, you can get into something like a Toro Time Master or a wider area mower, or then you can start to get into either lawn tractors that'll have wider mowing decks or zero turns, which are going to be the most efficient thing that you can have. And the other big decision that comes with mowing, especially now as battery powered equipment becomes more prolific, is how do you decide either battery or combustion engine? And I'm going to say that battery is great up to maybe 7,000 square feet. And I personally might even recommend battery power up to that size, simply because you avoid all of the small engine maintenance and problems that come along with that. I will say, you know, you're going to start to have to probably make a sizable investment in batteries if you want to go any bigger than, you know, maybe 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 square feet. In terms of brands, I can't really speak to which lawnmower you should buy. I would say realistically, worry more about the category of mower that you're getting into, and then find whatever fits that budgetary need for you. The next piece of equipment that I think you need to have is some sort of string trimmer. That being the item that has the little head on the end and it's got string that comes out of it, spins around really fast, cuts grass. You're going to have parts of your yard, parts of your property that are growing that a mower can't get to. And for those, you're going to need something to cut them down. And I believe the best way to go about that is a string trimmer. Once we get into string trimmers, you basically have three options. You have corded, battery, and again, combustion. I'm going to say corded is going to be the cheapest, but lugging an extension cord around is a nightmare. So I'm gonna say battery powered for a string trimmer is kind of the happy place for the normal homeowner. It's what I have, and I only have a 20 volt. I don't even have any of the new 40 or 60 volt stuff, and it's more than powerful enough for anything I've ever needed to use. I've had it through some pretty thick, pretty tall stuff, and it does just fine. Can get into the combustion engine, gas powered stuff, and that's fine and great, but it's gonna be more expensive. And again, you're bringing in another, you know, annual or more than annual maintenance type item that you're going to need to worry about and deal with. So my personal opinion is battery powered string trimmer, but again, that's a decision for you to make. And then the last two items that you need are a sprinkler of literally any kind. Whatever you're able to find, get yourself a sprinkler and enough hose to be able to get that sprinkler to all parts of the yard that you want to keep looking nice. Now you can obviously build upon that. You can have irrigation, you can, do an above ground type thing like I have on my channel from, Ryan Knorr's idea. But that's really it. If you can mow regularly and with good habits, and you can water when your lawn needs to be watered. And further down this series, we're going to have videos talking about mowing and talking about watering and how to approach both those things. But if you can do just those two things, are you going to have, the poster ready yard? Probably not. But I guarantee you're going to be surprised at just how much progress you can make with good mowing and good watering. And so now it's time to move into the things that I think you should have, the things that are going to be very helpful and going to allow you to start to apply products to your yard, start to kill off some of the weeds, the things that you should have in order to expand upon the foundations of mowing and watering. And this is going to be a pretty short list as well, but basically the things that you should have. Now we're going to get us into the fertilizer and weed killer applications. So you need a fertilizer spreader, which is going to be broadcast or drop. For 99% of the applications that a homeowner is going to do, I'm going to say broadcast is going to be much better for you. However, that's not to say if you do have a drop spreader that will work as well. You can just get things done much more quickly and efficiently with a broadcast spreader. And now, what is a broadcast spreader? A broadcast spreader is one where it has the hopper and then the little fan underneath it that spins around and throws fertilizer out. So you can cover a wider area. Drop spreader is just usually like a rectangular box, and then fertilizer or seed just falls straight down out of the bottom. The next thing that you should have is some sort of sprayer. Now you can get away with and use a hose end sprayer. However, I'm gonna highly recommend that you pick up some sort of pump sprayer. They make anywhere from 1 gallon hand pump sprayers up to 4 gallon, maybe even more hand pump sprayers. And you can also get into battery powered type sprayers as well. Those are going to be lawn size and budgetary decisions that you need to make for yourself. How much are you willing to spend for your own convenience? But you should have something that's going to allow you to spray at the very minimum of a weed killer. And once we get to this point with the should haves, mower, sprinkler, fertilizer spreader, and weed killer, that is all you would ever need to have a very visually appealing, weed-free, fantastic yard. However, to get started, you don't need the spreader or the sprayer. And another thing that I'm going to lump into should have, although it's maybe more just an honorable mention should have and probably could fit into nice to have, is a blower. Again, we have the same options we had as the string trimmer, which are the corded, battery, and combustion engine, and I'm going to make the same recommendation. I think a blower is a little bit easier to get away with corded, but you're still going to hate it and you're still going to not want to use it. So I'm going to say battery is the happy place for the homeowner. Again, I just have a 20 volt DeWalt that I'm perfectly pleased with. You can get more powerful than that. The gas powered blowers are going to be more powerful than that. However, I've really not encountered many instances where I needed something stronger than what I have. And so now we've filled out the garage with the things that we must have to maintain our yard, and we filled out the garage with the things that we should have to start to make it really nice. Now let's get into all of the fringe things that you could consider, why you might consider them, and get into our category of nice to have. And the first things that are nice to have, if you can have them, is a impact driver and an angle grinder. And the reason why I say that is because I believe that's probably the easiest way to be sharpening your mower blades, which is an important aspect of mower maintenance. So with any sort of impact driver, you can buy the right socket for the size of your mower, take the blade off, get a flap disc for your angle grinder, and you can go to town, sharpen your mower blades. Next thing that's nice to have is a blade edger. So I have a corded one. I think that's, you can get away with corded with an edger because I don't use it nearly as often as I use the other pieces of equipment that I have. So I don't mind dragging a cord out there whenever I need to. But again, when you get into battery and gas powered machines, those are going to be much more convenient, much easier to use. But again, since this is really just a nice to have thing, I bought the cheapest thing that I could find. And again, that serves no purpose from a health of your turf. That's just strictly to be able to get that nice clean edge along your driveway and sidewalks. Another thing that I purchased last year that I love having, but is definitely not something you need to have or even should have, is some sort of powered dethatcher. I personally can't stand raking. It's my least favorite lawn care activity. And so having that corded dethatcher has just been a huge help, but it allows me to do some other things too. It's something you can use to just do a little bit more than you could with a rake with a lot less effort. Mine also comes with a verticutter attachment, which allows me to do some things on the green that I wouldn't be able to otherwise. And it's just kind of a nice thing to have. And I enjoy having it, and I've found it to be quite useful when I have used it. And then the last couple things are just kind of toss away cheap hand tools. One is a soil probe. If you're going to be doing any sort of soil testing, that makes life much easier. You can also, poke a hole, take some dirt out, and just kind of get a sense for how dry your soil is if you're working on dialing in your watering. Get a sense of the types of soil you have and any sort of thatch or compaction issues that you maybe have. Something nice to have in your garage to use once or twice a year. Another one in there is a manual aerator. I use that for the green predominantly, but if you had small little areas where you just wanted to poke a couple holes, help relieve some compaction in your high traffic parts of your yard, another tool that's nice to have in the garage. You're going to use it maybe once or twice a year. And then the final thing is a soil thermometer, something that you can stick in the ground. This can be, honestly, it can be a meat thermometer that you don't plan on using for food again. Anything that you can stick into the ground and get the specific soil temperature for where you are. Realistically, going to be something you use once, maybe twice a year to have a good bead on when you should be doing your pre-emergent applications. Certainly not something you need to have, certainly not something you should have, but again, a nice little tool to have in the tool belt come once or twice a year when you can use it. And there we go. That's my best attempt to try to break down for you how you can go about understanding what do I need to have in order to be able to start to maintain my yard? What should I have to start to make it nice? And then what's just some kind of extra fun stuff that I can have that I use here and there. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have some other items that you would put into any of these categories, please let me know in the comments down below. Call me an idiot, do whatever you'd like. It helps the algorithm, and we can have that conversation in the comments section below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along as I do my best to help all of you have the nicest yards you can. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.